What is going on with Scooby-Doo? He used to be everywhere. He was doing everything with everyone. One of the original crossover characters. He's been going strong since '69. But these days, it seems like Scooby-Doo's fading away. Maybe he's being mismanaged as a property. Maybe he's just not as popular as he used to be. I don't know. But what I do know is he had a fantastic trilogy of games. And in addition to those games, his cartoons were the best. His movies were great. Scooby-Doo deserves better. Someone needs to save Scooby. Everyone has their own preference when it comes to Scooby-Doo media. There are fans of the original cartoons, some like the newer cartoons. Of course, there are fans of the animated movies, the crossover specials, and of course, people love the live-action movies. But me, I was a huge fan of that trilogy of video games that released between 2002 and 2005. That's when Scooby-Doo experienced a creative high point in gaming. The PS2, GameCube, and Xbox gave developers the powers they needed to create these fully 3D worlds that were able to capture the humor, mystery, and the charm of the classic Scooby-Doo cartoons. There were 3 games that came out during this era: Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights, which released in 2002, Scooby-Doo Mystery Mayhem, which released in 2004, and Scooby-Doo Unmasked, which released in 2005. Each game built upon the last, evolving in design, storytelling, and gameplay depth, while staying true to the heart of Mystery Incorporated. Developed by Heavy Iron Studios and published by THQ, Night of 100 Frights was the first Scooby-Doo game to fully embrace 3D platforming. I often refer to this game as 100 Frights in One Night. I don't know if they changed the title or if this is some kind of Mandela effect, but this is without a doubt one of the most nostalgic games from my childhood. It was developed by Heavy Iron Studios, the same team that went on to make banger games such as SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, and this team worked very closely with Warner Brothers to ensure authenticity. They used the original voice actors from the show, and they also incorporated a laugh track, musical cues, and visual gags, all straight from the show. The developers did aim to make the game accessible to younger players while offering enough challenge and exploration to engage older fans as well. I remember I was playing this game in kindergarten, but now when I go back and play it as an adult, I have no idea how I was playing this game as an actual child, because the game is pretty tough at times. There are some pretty tight platforming sections, and the game is a collectathon. If you're a kid just blowing straight past collectibles, you will not be able to engage or progress further in the story. The game begins when Daphne's friend Holly invites Mystery Incorporated to her family's mansion to investigate her missing uncle, Professor Alexander Graham. The gang arrives ready to solve the mystery, but they quickly get separated, leaving Scooby to explore the sprawling estate and uncover the mystery behind the professor's disappearance all by himself. The mansion and its surrounding grounds serve as this massive interconnected hub world with multiple different themed areas branching off. You have to go through the game collecting Scooby snacks to unlock gates to progress through the different levels and unlock the new environments, while you gradually piece together clues and unlock new inventions which give you new abilities. Night of 100 Frights is like a hybrid between Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Jak and Daxter, Banjo-Kazooie, like every 3D platformer collectathon ever made, it feels like. Scooby has to navigate these large interconnected levels filled with enemies, traps, and collectibles. The game's progression is tied to Professor Graham's inventions, which act as power-ups that grant new abilities. You get the Super Smash helmet, which is basically like the charge from Spyro. You could straight up murder monsters, break through crates and barriers. You get springs, which allow you to double jump. You get these boots that let you walk and jump on tar. You get plungers, which let you walk up slopes. You eventually get like an umbrella and you could blow bubbles. There's all kinds of different innovations that give you new mechanics, let you get new areas, unlock new collectibles. I don't know why I said innovations when they're inventions, but the different inventions give you the different abilities. This game is kind of like a Metroidvania, because as soon as you get a new ability, you're able to go back to previously visited areas and unlock new areas or get those collectibles that were once sealed off. The game's world is divided into a couple different themed zones, each with multiple sub-levels and secrets. There's the Mystic Manor, which is like the central hub. There's the outside grounds where it starts, and then you go inside and it's filled with hidden rooms. these spooky moving portraits and all kinds of secret passages. There's Smuggler's Cove, a foggy seaside area with docks, pirate ships, and these underwater sections. There's a hedge maid, which is this garden full of traps, switches, lurking monsters. Haunted grounds are the graveyards and crypts full of ghosts and skeletons. There's the fishing village. It's like this fog-shrouded dock area haunted by the ghost of Captain Cutler. And then you got the creepy crawlies in the hallways section, which is the mansion interior with all these moving platforms and puzzles. And then the shock on the dock mechanical area full of conveyor belts and electricity hazards. And then there are all kinds of awesome bosses, which include the iconic villains from the original series. There's the Creeper, the Witch Doctor, the Ghost of Redbeard. Each boss fight emphasizes pattern recognition and environmental interaction rather than just direct combat. You get to fight the Black Knight, you have to shock him with lightning. It's all pretty cool. And then this game's presentation is just without a doubt one of its standout features. It does include a fully voiced cast with acting from the official Scooby-Doo cast. You got Scott Innes as Scooby and Shaggy, Frank Welker as Fred, Gray DeLisle as Daphne, BJ Ward as Velma, and it has this awesome soundtrack that perfectly captures the show's spooky comic tone. This game is fantastic. It feels like you're playing an episode of the cartoons. The atmosphere is great, the sound is great, the gameplay is great. It's so much fun to play. It feels good. The level design is good as well. This is without a doubt probably the greatest Scooby-Doo game ever made. If they're ever going to remake a Scooby-Doo game, they need to remake this one. If you're a fan of Scooby-Doo and you've never played it, go play Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights or 100 Frights in One Night, whichever it's called, I don't even remember. But go play Scooby-Doo. If you're a fan of 3D platformer collectathons, go play this game. If you ever liked the SpongeBob games, Battle for Bikini Bottom, or the movie video game, go play this game. Or if you just like good games, PS2 games, early GameCube games, if you just want some nostalgia, if you want to have a good time, go play this Scooby-Doo game. It's fantastic. It's one of the best. Remake this game, remaster this game, come out with another one. I don't know. You remade Battle for Bikini Bottom, remake Scooby-Doo 100 Frights in One Night. No, Night of 100 Frights. Maybe they could call it 100 Frights in One Night for the remake. I don't know. Since Heavy Iron Studios went on to make SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, Artificial Mind and Movement was brought in to make Mystery Mayhem, which released in 2004. This game shifted the focus from platforming to exploration and puzzle solving. This game introduced a slower and more investigative tone that emphasized teamwork and atmosphere. The studio, also known as A2M, wanted to create a Scooby-Doo game that felt more like a mystery than an action platformer. The action platforming worked really well, but this team wanted to do something different. So they built a custom engine optimized for multi-platform development with a focus on expressive character animations, cinematic cutscenes, and environmental storytelling. The developers also introduced a new mechanic, the Tome of Doom, which gave players a more direct way to interact with ghosts. You gotta suck them up, just like it's Luigi's Mansion. This game's kind of cool because you walk around, you could put on different disguises to sneak past ghosts, or once you have the Tome of Doom, you're just able to suck them up. Instead of just playing as Scooby like in the last game, you're able to switch between Scooby and Shaggy. They're able to help each other out, they could boost each other up, and they could do different things, like Scooby could sneak through tight spaces, Shaggy could use his thumbs and arms and hands, and he could push carts and things like that. This game's pretty cool. It lets you suck up ghosts like it's Luigi's Mansion. I already said that. I don't know why they wanted their own Luigi's Mansion. The first thing you'll notice when you play this game is like it feels a lot different. Night of 100 Frights felt good, like it had to. It was a 3D platformer. Some of the platforming sections are kind of tight, but as soon as you boot up Mystery Mayhem, you're going to notice it feels kind of weird. It feels kind of floaty. It's not as tight as the last game was, but the story's a little different. The gang discovers the Tome of Doom, which is like this ancient book capable of summoning and trapping ghosts. But then the book gets stolen, so Scooby and Shaggy must recover it and stop the unleashed spirits that are haunting various locations. Like I said, you control both Scooby and Shaggy, and you have to switch between them as needed to solve puzzles and interact with the environment. The Tome of Doom is like the main gameplay mechanic. You have to weaken ghosts by finding clues, and then you suck them off with the tome. You gotta use that book power, suck them up. You have this courage meter. And, if you get too freaked out, if you lose your courage, you gotta go find food because you run away in panic and you can't suck the ghosts up with the book. So you gotta run to a safe zone or run and find food to recover. But this game has 5 main chapters. Each has multiple different sub levels within them. It starts in the Hamebridge Library, which is like the tutorial area. It has haunted books and ghostly libraries. It's kind of boring. Then you go to the Milford Mansion. It's this big estate, secret passages, cursed artifacts. You got the Gold Mountain Mine, which I think is my favorite area. It's this Western themed zone, has these mine carts, dynamite puzzles, spectral miners. There's this piano puzzle. It's all pretty cool. You got the Bayou, this big swampy region filled with fog, alligators, voodoo ghosts. And then the Milford Movie Studio, probably my second favorite zone. It's the final area. Haunted film sets, big showdown. Each level includes hidden clues, collectibles, and environmental puzzles that require you to switch between the two characters. This game is weird. The last game was so good, this game came in and changed everything. But, it's still a good game. It's fun, it's worth a play. It's not necessarily a sequel to the first game. This trilogy of PS2 games are all kind of like spiritual successors. They all build upon one another, but they are all self-contained. You don't necessarily have to have played the first one to play the second one. You can play these games in any order you like. I would recommend playing them in release order, so play Mystery Mayhem second. But although this game is a lot different, it is still worth a play. Don't go in expecting it to be a 3D platformer collectathon like the first game was. No, it is different. No, it is kind of like Luigi's Mansion plus collecting clues, but definitely worth a play. Scooby-Doo Mystery Mayhem. And then the following year, the big 2005 Scooby-Doo Unmasked came out. The final entry in the 6th generation trilogy, Scooby-Doo Unmasked represented the peak of Scooby-Doo's 3D adventures. A2M was back again, THQ was publishing again, came out on PS2, Xbox, GameCube, just like all the other games. But after Mystery Mayhem came out, A2M wanted to make a more dynamic and cinematic Scooby-Doo experience. The team collaborated with Warner Brothers Animation to produce fully animated cutscenes, giving Unmasked the look and the feel of a genuine Scooby-Doo movie. As soon as you boot up the game, it looks and it feels like Sly Cooper. It's interesting. The developers also introduced a new disguise system that diversified the gameplay and gave Scooby unique abilities tied to each world. The developers said, fuck having the book that sucks ghosts. Scooby just straight up throws hands now. When I said this game looks and feels like Sly Cooper, as soon as you load in, you get to start spin attacking these crates to collect Scooby snacks, just like when you're beating the hell out of the Egypt Museum in Sly 2. It's pretty cool. The story's kind of cool. The gang is visiting Fred's cousin Jed. Jed is a special effects artist who gets to work at this movie monster studio, but Jed disappears and the animatronic monsters come to life. Mystery Incorporated must uncover the truth behind the chaos. It's cool. The story unfolds across multiple themed worlds, each having its own mysteries and villains. Unmasked refined the formula established in Knights of 100 Frights by getting power-ups and letting Scooby fight. Players control Scooby exclusively through these semi-open levels with platforming puzzles and collectible. If you enjoy looking for stuff, if you enjoy collecting those Scooby snacks, it is back more aggressively just like in the first game. But the standout feature, the new mechanic, the thing that replaced the book suck, in addition to Scooby just being able to fight everyone and everything, is the disguise feature. These are costumes that gave the Scoob special abilities. So first you got Kung Fu Scooby. This allows combat moves, lets him really beat the hell out of people, and he could break through walls. You also got Bat Scooby. You get a glide, you get to do, really good aerial traversal, help you hit those hard to reach areas. And then you got Monster Scooby. He could blend in with the enemies and move heavy objects. Each disguise was tied to the specific levels and puzzles, and you were encouraged to experiment with different play styles. There were 4 main hub worlds, each divided into multiple stages. You had the Monstrous Movie Studio, which is where the game started. It had the film sets, props, and animatronic monsters. Chinatown was the second level. It was like this neon district with martial arts themed enemies and these rooftop fight sequences and chases. You then had the Museum of Natural History, big museum, dinosaur exhibits, ancient curses, and then the game ends at the ghoulish theme park, which had like roller coasters and haunted rides. It's pretty cool. Each world included hidden collectibles, Scooby snacks, and clues that unlocked bonus content. You were able to level up and power up your disguises as well, and they changed colors and you got like a super ability, which was pretty cool. Unmasked was an interesting game. Definitely worth a play, just like Mystery Mayhem, just like, 100 Frights in One Night. But it's an interesting game because it feels like Sly Cooper. You just load in and you just start beating the hell out of chairs, getting Scooby snacks. You start collecting this goo. You have to fight rats. You have to start fighting robots. You get the, ninja bat costume, martial art, monster Scooby-Doo. And you just start beating the hell out of everybody. So it was a good, what the fuck was I going to say? I was going to say it was a good trap to the trilogy. I guess it was a good finale to the trilogy. I called it the peak earlier. I don't think it was the best one. I still think 100 Frights in One Night was the best one. But this was a good end to the trilogy. Too bad Heavy Iron Studios didn't make a full trilogy, but I guess that would have gotten kind of old if you just had 3 Scooby-Doo platformer collectathon games in a row. Like, I guess it's good Heavy Iron Studios went on to make Battle for Bikini Bottom and the SpongeBob SquarePants movie video game. It looks like they made the Incredibles video game also, which I tried a demo of on a PS2 demo disc in the early 2000s, so definitely gonna play that. They made a Wall-E game, love Wall-E. They also made a Ratatouille game, and that's my favorite Disney movie, so gonna go try those games as well. But shout out to them. They're just like an Xbox Live support studio now for Activision. I don't know what A2M is up to. I need to look up and see what they're up to. But shout out to A2M making these 2 good games and innovating. Trying new things kept the Scooby-Doo video games interesting, because you gotta buy each new game, and game 2 book suck, game 3 fight the hell out of people, game 1 explore, collect, jump, platforming. It was great. If you haven't played the Scooby-Doo PS2 Xbox GameCube trilogy, go play the Scooby-Doo PS2 Xbox GameCube trilogy. They did make a couple new games a couple years later as well, but they were like about the gang as kids. If you're into the gang as kids, like if you're into the Pup Named Scooby-Doo cartoons, maybe you'll be into like these first Frights or like the Swamp one. I don't know. I haven't tried them, and I don't know if I plan to, because the first trilogy is just so good. Go play the first trilogy, 100 Frights in One Night, Mystery Mayhem, and Unmasked. These games are super banging. If you thought this video was going to be me talking about the cartoons or the movies or the show, and you're still watching, sorry. I am a big fan of the cartoons and the movies, love Zombie Island, love Cyber Chase. I did like A Pup Named Scooby-Doo enough. What's New Scooby-Doo was great. The original cartoon was great. It was all so good. I grew up a massive Scooby-Doo fan, which is probably why I like the game so much. But independent of that, the games are just good games, which is why I recommend everybody go and play them. These games definitely represented a high point of Scooby-Doo's history. They captured the essence of the franchise, the humor, the teamwork, the spooky charm, the eating Scooby snacks, while experimenting with gameplay mechanics that made each one distinct. Night of 100 Frights had that classic platforming and exploration, Mystery Mayhem had investigation and ghost catching, and then Unmasked kind of combined both approaches with the cinematic flair and creative disguises. These games were crafted with care by developers who truly understood what made Scooby-Doo special. They did balance accessibility with creativity, nostalgia with innovation, and humor with genuine mystery. Even today, I look back on this era of Scooby-Doo as the definitive Scooby-Doo gaming experience. These are the best Scooby-Doo games in existence without a doubt. This was a time when the gang's adventures felt alive, they felt authentic and full of heart. The sixth generation didn't just bring Scooby-Doo into 3D, it gave everyone the chance to step into the mystery machine and live the adventure themselves. Since these are some of my favorite games, I've been playing Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights live on ZUGZUG Nation Live. I did one session, gonna do some more, probably gonna come in and play Mystery Mayhem and Scooby-Doo Unmasked live on ZUGZUG Nation Live as well. ZUGZUG Nation Live got off to an awesome start. We did 5 episodes of Fallout for Hope 2025 charity live stream benefiting St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Now I'm on to streaming Scooby-Doo. Subscribe to ZUGZUG Nation. Check out ZUGZUG Nation Live. ZUGZUG Nation Live. Yeah. ZUGZUG Nation Live.